So, a recap for today. It was a decent day. I started with a short of Dell. Reason is I saw that it was weak. It was dropping down the whole time. There's some news about its buyout of a subsidiary of its own VMware. So the two kind of traveled together, but Dell was a cheaper stock and it was cleaner. So I traded Dell. On the 1 minute, it continuously dropped. It was weak. It's a bit distended from the moving averages, but it was below all of them. So I felt comfortable taking the short. It just kept a tight monetary stop loss in case it pops back up on me. I would have exited maybe around $80, $100 loss or whatnot, and then I'll just wait for it to consolidate back to the moving average and see if it will continue to go short. If it will, then I'll go short again. That was my game plan going in. Luckily, it didn't force me to take any losses, so I shorted the stock. Kind of small position, I think 400 shares or so. As it dropped, I basically covered. When it showed some strength, I covered. And then it bounced around a bit, and then it dropped. But I made decent money on that, so it's okay. I prefer to be safe and stress-free than to try to capture more of this. I tried to hold 100 shares left just to see if it drops, but it made a pretty, sizable jump and so forth. So I didn't really want to hold it through this consolidation process. Sometimes it will continue down like this, or sometimes this is a sign of a V reversal, and then it would just continue to go back up, and then you just give up some profit. So I didn't want to do that, and I let it be. Later on, I then went on to play some other stock, but it continued to drop, and then later on, it couldn't make a new down here. It couldn't make a new 5-minute low. And technically, if I was watching this, I probably would have entered here, because usually what happens is if it can't make a new 5-minute low, it would then make another 5-minute high prior to another drop or whatnot. But I wasn't playing it, so. And another thing too is the new 5-minute high coincides with it being above this moving average, so it would have been a good long position if you took it here. Another good position would be taking it here. I saw it kind of late. I saw it around here, but since it's above both moving averages, there's a VWAP here. At first when I saw it, I took the position without looking at the 5-minute, but it turned out okay for me because when I looked at the 5-minute, there was a resistance level here, and that's why I bounced around a bit on the 5-minute because it couldn't break this resistance, and then it dropped back down and so forth, and then eventually it did. I just went long anyway. It looks small, but it's actually 30 cents or so. So actually, I took it 91. So basically around 92, and at the high is 92.40. So 40 cents. That's quite significant, right? If you have 400 shares, obviously this is if you held all 400 for the 40-cent jump. But I scaled out. But if you did, it would be $160. Just like that, in less than a minute. So I just scaled out along the way because I saw I was hitting this on a 5-minute. I didn't want to wait for the consolidation. As you see here, once it consolidated, the stock was pretty strong, so it basically broke through, and now I think it's going to test the 94.15, which it coincides to one of the simple moving averages. I think it's either a 50 or a 200, so there's a good chance it would test that. But for me, I'm done with the stock. I'm done for the day, so I'm not going to do that. The other stock I played was Baba. Baba, I saw that it went up. It does all this wacky stuff. And then it was breaking down. And when it was breaking down below the VWAP, I went short, thinking it would break through these levels. Because once it does, that would be pretty... or at the time, I was thinking it would be a pretty decent drop. And so... I went short, very small size, I think 200 shares or so, because I wasn't comfortable with whether it would do a bounce or not, kind of like what it did here, because there's a previous day level here, 182.06, I think it's the same one, 182.06, yeah, same one. So the previous day level there, usually it's a good support or resistance, so it bounced back up, and then I got stopped up. I didn't want to wait for that. Then when it dropped below that again this time, I knew it was getting weak. It tested this level a couple of times, didn't break it, so I felt more comfortable doing that. So I went short, and then when it dropped to a new low at the time, and it was testing this level, I short again. This time I held it through, and then it started to break down through all these moving averages, and then I just started to cover. I marked this line here because at the time it kept bouncing off of this. Every time it fell below that, it got bought back up, so that was a pretty good resistance. And I just wanted to see if it will bounce back up, kind of like what it's doing now. Instead, it bounced all the way down, broke through that resistance, and then now it's just going back up. It's probably going to test this high of the day, the 83.35, since it's way up here. It is kind of descended, but I think it will probably test that and then just drop back down to the moving averages. So it probably may not hit the 183, but it'll probably test it, get close to it, and then drop back down. So that was BABA. And then WYNN, I just did a really quick kind of scalp of WYNN. So basically what happened was I saw I couldn't make a new low around that level, and then it went back up above those moving averages, and then it started to creep down again. Since it was below these two moving averages, I couldn't form a new 5-minute high, so I went short. And don't let this fool you, because it's actually a pretty big drop. So this is what, 152.28, 151.98. So that's like almost a 30-cent drop. So if you have, which is what I did, I only took like 400 shares. That's $120 or so. Obviously, I kept some just to see if it would continue to drop. It did not. It went back up. But either way, it was a quick scalp of it. I made sure that I had a tight stop loss, monetary stop loss. But yeah, now it looks like it's just consolidating around this area. It may go back up. Can make a new low because it's been short the whole day. So it may start to creep back up, test VWAP or something like that. But there's a lot of moving averages here. It gets complicated. So I $406 or so. 406 made my day. I think I'm done. I'm good for the day, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. And again, I'm still in this position for IQ. It may be maybe a week or so swing. Hopefully, there are some news about obviously the trade war with China and whatnot. So we'll see. But I'm kind of long this position. Set a stop loss anywhere below $30 or so, and we'll see where this go. But that's a swing trade, so it's a different matter. And we'll see how that played out. I'm looking for some other swing positions as well. I just exited Gilead last week, so I have some capital for my swing on a different account. So we'll see where that goes. All right, thanks.